I think the stigma is from lack of awareness, lack of understanding, lack of wanting to understand, from fear of hearing rumors. So let's educate ourselves. Let's educate the world. Let's show the world that there's hope. Let's give hope. Let's together break the stigma, one story at a time. Share our stories, share our challenges, share our victories, share our dire moments that we got up and started walking again. Welcome to Hope to Recharge podcast. Thank you for joining me here again today. Every week we meet here to break the stigma around mental health and to bring you insight and inspiration and lots of practical tips from personal stories or professionals around the world that share how they turn their journey of mental health into healing or to thriving. Together we will break the stigma one story at a time. In mental health, together is always better. Thank you for joining me here today. I'm your host, Matana. Let's get started. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp.com, the leading online platform for therapy. You can access thousands of therapists one click away. Go check out BetterHelp.com/hope to recharge. Get 10% off your first month. Start your wellness now. Do you sometimes feel stuck? Do you wish you can be somewhere else? Do you have a vision of where you want to get to, but you just don't know what the first step to take in order to get to that life that you're dreaming of? Many people ask me, what did I do in order to create this wellness that I'm living in? How did I shift from deep depression, from extreme anxiety to a thriving life, to a productive life, to a life full of joy? I put many things into practice, and it's every single day. Many of you know that it's gratitude, a healthy mindset, boundaries, self-love, and one of the most important things that many people don't speak about, forgiveness. Self-forgiveness and forgiveness to others. Essential for healing. If you want to work one-on-one with me in order to move forward towards that dream life that you have a vision of, click the link below in the show notes. It's a custom-made program for you, one-on-one with me. We will develop a concrete program that you can implement in your life so you can create a better well-being. Click the link below. Looking forward to working with you. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I feel like I've been missing in action for a long time. I really was not very present the last 2 weeks. We had Passover. We went from March directly into April, and I really wanted to drop a short solo episode updating everybody about what's coming up in April. The day that I was supposed to record that solo episode, I was traveling from Florida to New York for 24 hours, and it was a very last minute trip in the middle of Passover when we had really a beautiful first few days of the Passover with family in Florida. I got heartbreaking news from one of my closest friends. It's like a sister to me, that her oldest son, 24 years old, passed away on Passover. I don't remember last time feeling so shocked and like the floor was ripped from the bottom of my feet. That felt stable at the time. I hopped on a plane to go be with her. I think I did it more for myself than for anything else. Just to be far away from a friend that is going through something so brutal is really one of the hardest things in life. To not be with someone that you love and care about so much when they're going through something is one of the most difficult things, I think. I'm grateful that I was able to just hop on a plane and that Ari took over and the kids were so supportive and my family was so supportive, and we just made it work. And then I came back 24 hours later and back to the last days of the holiday. Spending some time with the kids, unwinding, a lot of unwinding that I needed, decompressing. I went a little bit into hibernation. So I didn't drop the episode last week, and it was my way of saying it's okay to not be perfect. And yes, we had beginning of a month on Hope to Recharge that I did not publish a new episode, which I think it was the first time since I started Hope to Recharge that it wasn't published on time, or there was nothing at all. There was silence, and that's okay. It's really okay. I'm actually recording now in my backyard in Florida. I'm taking the day off, and I decided that I'm not going to be indoors recording, and I'm going to do it outside, looking at the sky. You're going to hear airplanes, you're going to hear birds. There's a lot of wildlife out here, trees, beautiful sky, water, sprinklers. We're right near a private airport, so there's airplanes that go off very, very often, so you're going to hear some airplanes. I decided that I want to record outside, and it's not going to be a perfect recording, but you'll be able to hear what I have to say, and that's okay. I'm just going to take it all in. In the month of April, I've been waiting for so long, for almost a year. I've been waiting to break the stigma on borderline personality disorder. When we first started Hope to Recharge, I recorded an episode with Paul Sokol, a friend of mine that I met through business a few years ago, and he was very vocal about his journey with mental health back in the day, and before he even knew that it was borderline personality, before he was diagnosed with borderline. And when I reached out to him when I started the podcast, and I said I would love to have you as a guest, and he shared his story and how he was diagnosed with borderline, and how he and his girlfriend were working through the relationship, working through understanding borderline, healing from borderline, which there is a way of healing from borderline, which is something that the world needs to hear. Anyway, when I recorded this episode number 11, if you haven't heard it, go listen to it. I had so many people reach out to me after that episode saying, I think I have borderline, maybe I have borderline, maybe I was misdiagnosed. People from all over the world. There was a lady in Australia that said to me that she was diagnosed with so many different mental illnesses, and nothing was making her heal. And when she heard Paul's episode, she's like, wow, this sounds exactly like me. And she said, I've never really heard about borderline. And she went to get, I guess it's evaluated, and there's a specific way of getting evaluated. And she said that she was diagnosed with borderline, and she said it was her biggest relief. She's like, okay, now I understand. Now I can work with my husband. Now that he can understand me, now I can understand myself. Now I can work with tools that are out there to hopefully heal, to understanding why so many things that happen to us in life happen when there's, I don't like labeling, but I think understanding is the key to recovery, because when we understand why we react to certain ways to certain things, why we're triggered, even though I don't really like the word triggered, but there is triggers, and not faulting anyone, but there's a way that we just show up in the world, and sometimes we don't understand it, and sometimes people around us don't understand it. It can get so frustrating, confused. Borderline is one of the most stigmatized diagnoses out there. Diagnoses, I think that's the word. And it's painful, and it's very lonely, and it's very sad to be struggling with borderline on our own. And there are not enough advocates out there to say that there is healing that comes, and there is tools, and there is hope, and there are relationships that happen. And I think one of the biggest things that I learned from a friend of mine, a very close friend of mine that I met through Jesse Itzler's program a few years ago, I think it was three years ago, and we got to speak. We got very close, and she became one of my closest friends through mental health, through our adventure in mental health, and she taught me so much about borderline, really so much about borderline. And one of the things that she taught me was how strong the stigma was. And I was a little naive and saying, really? It's not a big deal. Like, why would people not share? Why would people be afraid to share? Why would therapists be afraid to diagnose? There's so many therapists, and I'm not against therapists, but there's so many therapists that misdiagnose because they don't know how to treat borderline, or they don't even know how to diagnose borderline. And then the patients are just stuck in this rut. So I feel like I was waiting for this opportunity, and I was really doing the research, and I recorded some fantastic interviews from loved ones that live with people that are diagnosed with borderline and trying to heal and get to recovery, from people that were homeless, in and out of hospitalization, suicide attempts, you name it, everything to recovery. Literally hope. One of the first episodes that we're going to share is from a woman, a fabulous woman by the name of Debbie, and she started DBT Path. After she healed from borderline, she decided that she has to give this to the world, and she started a whole DBT Path community online DBT courses and classes and communities and learning all about DBT from the one and only Marsha Linehan. Marsha Linehan is like the messiah for the community of borderline, literally the messiah. One day I would meet her. I would love to meet her because she is courage. She speaks about how we have to have radical acceptance in order to heal. She speaks about how you have to walk through hell in order to get out of misery. I think that's her quote. You have to walk through, you have to walk through misery to get out of hell, or walk through hell to get out of misery. Either one. But they're both very profound. And she created DBT after so many years of struggling with borderline, and no one knew what really was borderline. It was like hush. She was in and out of in and out of hospitals, also misdiagnosed, until she decided that she's going to start DBT. So Marsha is literally the messiah for the community of borderline, and I think not only for the community of borderline, but in general for mental health or for any stability. I think DBT should be taught in every preschool, elementary school, high school, more than science, more than math. I think DBT Skills is something that every human should acquire and will help them in every situation and every relationship. It's sad that, it's fortunate and sad. It's sad that only the borderline personality disorder world is really tapping into it. But if the entire world would tap into Marsha Linehan's goal that she created, the DBT, would be amazing. So Debbie is one of Marsha's students, quote unquote, and she healed through DBT and other things that we're going to hear next episode. Hi, airplane. And Debbie started a whole community, DBT Path, to help others. She got to wellness. She got to recovery. That's like unbelievable. And one of the things that I spoke to her about is the joy that she's experiencing now is a joy that you can't comprehend. The joy of living a meaningful life, a life worth living. That's something that Marsha Linehan speaks about. A life worth living it takes life to a new level. I learned so much from the borderline community about what it means to be humble, about what it means to work hard, to not give up, to do the work, to walk through shame and own whatever is coming our way. They are the most courageous, strong, unbelievable humans that walk on planet Earth. Literally. They are role models, they are mentors, they're really courage and full-blown day-to-day actions. And borderline is something that no one says, oh, I want to diagnose myself with borderline. It's a very scary and an unsure diagnosis. And it could be really overwhelming. And it's something that our brain, I'm going to say our brain because every brain is the same thing, that they can react without us understanding the triggers until afterwards, until we analyze it. And it can be very draining and overwhelming. So the community of borderline that do the work, I think, are incredible humans. And it's a very lonely path that they are taking because a lot of people are living in shame and silence. And here I am on Hope to Recharge. I am on a mission to break the stigma and to bring more awareness. I think the stigma is from lack of awareness, lack of understanding, lack of wanting to understand, from fear of hearing rumors. So let's educate ourselves. Let's educate the world. Let's show the world that there's hope. Let's give hope. Let's together break the stigma, one story at a time. Share our stories, share our challenges, share our victories, share our dire moments that we got up and started walking again. And in the next few episodes, in April, and we're going to go into May because there's a lot that is coming out that people are reaching out to me. So I want to share all these episodes that I want to get more and more emails and Facebook messages about this topic, because we need to break the stigma, because people are dying because of stigma and shame. because they're afraid to tell people, because they're alone in this, versus getting support, getting love, getting encouragement, understanding, and working through it. There is no one in this world that deserves to be alone. No one in this world deserves to be alone in pain. Absolutely no one. Can you hear how passionate I am about this topic? I'm very excited about this upcoming month that I've been waiting so long to share with this community. I wish you could see the visual of what I'm looking at, the palm trees, the beautiful sky, the sun that's on my toes. And I'm recharging myself before I go back to New York, to the almost cold weather. I heard that we no longer need coats, but I don't believe it. I believe that in New York until May we need jackets. One of the Israeli parts of me that never got adjusted to New York. I hope this short solo episode was somewhat encouraging for others to read about borderline, to listen to the upcoming episodes, to not be so judgmental, to be kind, to break the stigma together with us. Together is better. Always. Together is always. So here we go. We're going to drop an episode on Thursday, God willing. Thursday will be the first interview on this topic with Debbie from DBT Path. It's a long episode, but every word is gold. You might have to listen to it a few times. You might have to break it up, and that's okay. Do what's good for you. Share with us what your thoughts are on this topic. If you want to share with us your personal story with borderline, if it's your personal story or someone that you love that's diagnosed with borderline and trying to recover or do the work or survive, share with us. Please share with us. Go to hopetorecharge.com, contact us, and send us an email. We love getting feedback. We thrive through feedback. And I want you to know that almost every single topic that we discuss is because someone recommended that we bring it up on Hope to Recharge. So your feedback is our material. Your feedback is our material. So just know that you're making an impact. When you send us your thoughts, we're listening, we're creating, we're evolving, we're serving, we're giving. So keep those ideas coming to our way. We are so grateful. Together is better in mental health. Let's bring this April big month of the awareness. Let's bring awareness to borderline personality disorder. Let's bring kindness. Let's bring love. Let's educate. Let's break the stigma together. Let's break the silence and break the shame behind us. Let's do it together. Thank you for being there. Hope to see you all on the other side of April. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. Bye for now. Thank you for listening till the end. We highly appreciate all of our listeners. In Mental Health Together is Better, you being here means a tremendous amount to us. If you enjoyed this episode and you would like some extra boost of information and inspiration that is not on the podcast, you can go to our website, hopetorecharge.com. There's some premium content that for the cost of a cup of coffee, you can download some amazing information that will help you, a tool that will guide you through life. So don't skip a beat. Don't hesitate. Go to hopetorecharge.com and see what other offerings we have there for your mental health well-being. Thank you for joining us. And remember, if you enjoyed this and you want to say thank you, the best way of gratitude will be by you leaving a review or a comment or sharing this with a loved one. There is no greater form of gratitude for us. Thank you. Bye till next time.